don't know what is going on in Vegas, but we are seeing a spike in calls from the Sin City.
If you live in Las Vegas and want to compare areas, let's get into it.
From what I'm hearing, casinos are not what they used to be. You got $30 drinks, paying to park everywhere. People are kind of sick of it, Tucker. Is that part of what's going on?
Yeah, I think people are starting to have questions about the main pillar of the Las Vegas economy. And they're going, should we leave and start going to a more stable area? That's one thing. I'll share, Clay. I'm supposed to be in Vegas at the end of January for soccer. Now, my daughter Anna wants to go because she wants to see the Eagles at the Sphere. And so we're trying to figure that out. Prices are really ridiculous, but I think it'd be definitely worth seeing.
Man, the Sphere, I'm jealous. That's definitely a noteworthy thing that you can't really find anywhere else, I don't think. So, Tucker, when people call, what are they asking about?
Sure. Well, they share a little bit about their concerns for the Vegas economy, and they're asking, hey, I'm thinking about moving to Franklin. That's usually the number one question we get, is we're really kind of focused on this one area. Same for Canada. I thought that was very interesting, but both are really focused on that type of community. Has that hometown feel. It's a smaller community. And these calls are usually from Henderson or Summerlin. Now, if you're in Summerlin and you're in this really big planned community, we don't have anything on that size. We would have like a West Haven, which is about 2,000 or 3,000 homes. And you're not going to have quite the retail that you typically have in a Summerlin community. But we do have some planned communities like that. You also have June Lake and you have Farrington.
Well, that's a great point, man. So let's talk about the economy for a second and the differences that might be going on. Their economy there feels very centric to entertainment, I think, right? And the Strip and all that stuff. Our economy feels a little diverse and a little more different. What key points do people need to know about that?
Sure. In a lot of ways, you always kind of hear Vegas and Nashville kind of get compared. Sometimes we're called Nash Vegas. And at the same time, when you think about hospitality and casinos and entertainment, you think of Vegas. But then when you think about Nashville's a little bit more rounded out community. You have the tourist situation and the downtown area and all that. We're the number 2 bachelorette capital of America, but then you still have, we're the healthcare capital of the world. And you have a lot of corporate headquarters here. So we're more rounded out community. So we don't really hear the bumps that you would typically see in a typical economy.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We do have a very diverse healthcare, music, universities, small businesses. We got a lot of different things going on in Tennessee, I feel like. And Vegas it feels more that entertainment, tourism. Now, our tourism industry is bustling for sure. If you go downtown Nashville, as you know, Tucker, it doesn't feel like anything like Vegas. It's not on that scale. Vegas just feels like everything's huge there to me. It's like a little baby Vegas on the Strip, maybe at the rooftop bars and the country music, a lot of live music. There's definitely a scene downtown Nashville that is attracting a ton of tourism. The airport, as you know, has grown and expanded. It's actually a really, really nice airport, and then, the latest thing, Tucker, is Elon and the gang are boring the tunnel from our airport to downtown Nashville. And I wonder where they got that idea.
Sure. Well, they definitely got it from Vegas. I think Vegas is always the blueprint for something new. Vegas is very quick to just blow up a building and put something new that really works with them. This boring tunnel that's going to go to downtown Nashville underneath the convention center is really just phase 1. I think they're going to have other tunnels to go to different parts. They talked about Murfreesboro. They've talked about different parts of Franklin. That's part of it. But then we also do have an entertainment. We are an entertainment capital. Bridgestone Arena downtown is the busiest arena in the world. It has more nights than anybody else. It's busier than Madison Square Garden. So I do want to share that. Funny thing is, like last night was Wednesday night. My wife got stuck in traffic trying to get back from Bethesda near June Lake. There's an amphitheater out there. It took them 40 minutes because of the Papa Roach concert. And then just this past weekend, Clay, you were at the Pilgrimage Festival with John Mayer.
Yeah, it was actually very cool, Tucker. It was just I felt very safe the whole time. It was just like a non-scary crowd at all. It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful sunset views, outdoor concert. They had all the concert festivities, but it's just right down the road in Franklin, Tucker. And if you're somebody who's going to move to Franklin, you're going to want to know about Pilgrimage. To me, it's like I'm going to probably have to go every year now. It was just really well done, easy to navigate, enjoyed multiple stages of music. And this year it was a week or two later than normal. So it was actually a cooler environment. If you get too much in the summertime outdoor concerts, it can get hot, Tucker. I think that's probably one of those things that we need to talk about too. But Before we do that, outdoor activities, what other outdoor activities, how would you contrast these between what you can do in Vegas and life in Tennessee?
Well, anytime you go out west, whether it's Jackson Hole, Colorado, Vegas, California, you realize real quickly the amount of outdoor activities are just off the charts. I mean, there's just too much to do, which is fantastic. So when you're here, it's not quite as much, but we do have the trails. We have, you've got Radnor Lake. Brentwood's got a lot of trails that you can connect to all the different parks. Same for Franklin, but we're not that far away. I mean, you go out to Cookeville to all the waterfalls. They got about 12 different waterfalls. We're in Brentwood right here. That's about an hour and 15-minute drive. And you've got big trails that you can hit out there. You got kayaking communities, you've got plenty of river access, lake access to choose from as well. So I think you're going to find what you're looking for.
Yeah, I think in general, you're going to see Tennessee countryside or just Tennessee life is going to be a lot more lush, a lot more green, more rainfall contrasted with the desert environment. It's just going to feel totally different. Desert feels very flat. Tennessee feels like, I feel like rolling hills and topography is like what life is like here. And with that comes the rivers, like you said, there's multiple lakes you can get to within 2 hours, and certainly creeks and fishing. You can be fishing in 15 minutes on the Harp of the River, Tucker, or canoeing. So there is an element of outdoor things to do. There's certainly some great parks in Nashville and around Nashville. There's cave systems. There's just all kinds of, and then especially if you go 2 hours to Chattanooga, Knoxville territory, you have serious mountains with even more things to do on the riverfronts and all that stuff. So,
well, you do, and you also do have, I forgot what the name of the place is, but there's a cave you can go to that's pretty close to Swanee near Chattanooga. It's just an underground concert, and apparently
it's the cavern.
Yes, so you do have that there. So yeah, so when you start talking about, hey, we're thinking about making this move, here's our concerns about Las Vegas, where are some areas we need to start? Well, yes, if you're in Summerlin, I would definitely check out those first planned communities we discussed, which is like a West Haven, Barrington, June Lake. But if you're just looking at Franklin as a whole, and you want to start in that $800,000 price point, and you want to do new construction, I think you need to check out Poplar Farms.
Yeah, those are great suggestions. I think before I forget, one noteworthy thing about if you live in Tennessee, you can get to the coast, to the prettiest beaches, the prettiest sandy beaches in America, I think, on the Panhandle of Florida. And so that's what, Tucker, like, is that an 8-hour drive, 7 to 8 hour drive?
It is. It's about an 8-hour drive. And obviously, most people here go to 30A. It's a huge area along the coast. That's where most people typically go to vacation.
Yeah, and it's world-class beaches. So that's within a drive, less than a day's drive. You can get to a coast, which is awesome. Tucker, what else let's talk about commutes for a second. What do people need to know if they're thinking about commuting to work?
Sure. So if you're going to work in the downtown area, there's different parts of Franklin that are a little bit off the interstate. If you want to be near the interstate, like a Ladd Park, you're going to be right under $1 million, 2-car garage, 4 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms. You're going to have a tighter lot, but you can get downtown in about 20 to 30 minutes.
And that's probably going to be without peak traffic hours. I do think in Vegas, you may have less congestion. It's so spread out and flat, they can build roads anywhere. In Nashville, you may experience more congestion on the roads, especially if you are out in rush hour, morning and evening, commutes. So many people are working remote that, we don't always have to experience that, but I do think it's worth pointing out, it gets busy during rush hours, right?
It does, but sometimes we have to remember, like, the things we complain about, Clay, like a commute is 30 minutes and people going, 30 minutes, Tucker, it takes me 30 minutes to get to the grocery store, and so it's like, okay, so we have to kind of pull the reins back on what we think traffic is, especially when you're talking about out west.
Yeah, well, and at least you're driving through pretty, green areas and not, in the hot desert necessarily. So you may be driving past farms and cattle and like old historic barns and all this stuff on your daily commute, depending on where you live here.
Absolutely. And that kind of goes back to what you hear about when people move here. I said, when we've helped people from Vegas move here, the two things that they said was really important to them, what they liked was the level of stability of the economy here and the safety.
Yeah, and I think it's also going to feel culturally different here, Tucker. I think you got to know if you're moving to the South in the Bible Belt, it's going to feel different. The people are different. You may have strangers smile at you or, open a door for you. And some of these other cities, you don't get the same vibe, I don't think. So it's worth knowing there are some differences. It's worth coming to visit. And if you come to visit, do downtown Nashville, but don't expect that that's really what life is like in Tennessee. You got to get out in the suburbs. We can make suggestions as to some cool places to go check out, to see what daily life would look like in Tennessee. So just know that that's an option. Tucker, anything else you want to add?
Well, absolutely, Clay. I think the first thing we want you to know, if you do have questions, give us a call. And you can always tell us your situation, and we can find the right spot that's for you. Sometimes we get calls about, hey, we just need to really get there, drop our stuff and get to work. Where should we rent? We try to point you in the right direction there. And then when it's time to buy, we're here.
Yeah. And I got to say one other thing. If you come to town, did you know that there's an airport? There's an airport. Of course, there's an airport. There's a hotel attached to our airport in Nashville. And so you can literally, and the other cool thing about our airport is that they have live music in the airport. There's a bunch of local restaurants in there. So if you have to pop in for a quick trip and don't have much time, you could stay at the airport that's attached. Stay at the hotel attached to the airport and entertain yourself, while you're waiting on your flights or whatever. It's super unique that they have that, Tucker. I think I just want to throw that out there.
Yes, just walk in, go to the rooftop, and it's all glass, and you can just sit there and just watch the planes land. And yeah, full disclosure, there's a lot of times our airport gets really backed up, and they're working on it. And so just dealing with some growing pains here.
Yeah, but at least you can listen to live music while you wait, right?
Yes,
so if you are thinking about trading a casino economy for a different lifestyle and maybe a more corporate economy, diverse economy, and the rolling green hills of Tennessee, then we'd love to help you connect all the dots. Again, my name is Clay, and Tucker and the team and I get contacted every day from people thinking about moving to the Tennessee area. And so we are real estate agents, and we talk to folks all the time about what it's really like. So if that's you, hit us up. And until next time, we hope to show you around town.